Good evening, everyone. This is Kelly Day coming at you from Northern Saskatchewan, Canada, July 18th, 2018. This is just a short video, or short for me. I guess it's all relative. I'm not a woman of brevity, but I will try. Just want to touch on a couple things tonight. First of all, thanks for your patience. If you are watching these videos, I am hoping that they will improve in quality, both audio and visually, as time goes on, because I am increasing my equipment and my capacity to use different devices and my knowledge, because I am really not that tech savvy. So thank you for your patience. I'm hoping it will continue to get a little less grainy, a little better audio. I do have a mic and a mixer. I just haven't set them up yet. So please wish me luck in finding the cord that I really need to set this up to my computer so I don't have to buy another one and wait for it to come from Amazon. So tonight I want to talk about feminism, and this is a pretty big topic to unpack in a few minutes. So maybe it'll take a little longer, or maybe I'll cut it off and do a part 2 or 6 or 10, depending how long it takes. But the reason I'm inspired tonight, or I guess I shouldn't say inspired, because inspired indicates that maybe someone is feeling happy, you know, and ready to be creative and do something wonderful, where I'm not. I'm a little pissy, actually, is what I am. It's been coming out lately, you know. I found myself responding to different journalists when they write an article that I find particularly abhorrent, or just factually untrue, etc., etc. So many of them have been very racially divisive. Many of them have been just very, very inaccurate. I've written a rebuttal regarding Jordan Peterson, some people claiming he's dangerous. I mean, you know, you've got all kinds of people saying all kinds of things right now that have nothing to do with feminism, but specifically feminism has become a thing for me lately because, well, I'm a woman, so I apparently am supposed to buy into this stuff. So first we're going to start with my definition of feminism. I know this is different for everyone. I am not speaking of feminism in the sense of being a strong woman, of being empowered, of being equal. I am not speaking of the suffragette movement, of voting rights, of women's right to be autonomous. I am not speaking of traditional, important activism for women. I am speaking of modern feminism, or third wave, feminism, if that's the nomenclature that you prefer to use. So this idea of modern feminism has really, really shifted, and I was not alive when original feminism came out, but from everything I've understood and read and know about the topic, it was not anything quite like this. So what I'm really finding a lot in modern day feminism is a lot of terminology, so we'll start there. There's a lot of words, a lot of phrases. Everything has a phrase. Everything has a systemic reason. Everything has a huge subconscious, underlying, massive atrocity of a meaning. Every man that does something good is probably because of his privilege, and every woman that has trouble getting a job, it's because she's a woman. And I just feel like it is like out of control. So specifically, we have a broadcasting station in this country called the CBC. I don't know if I brought it up in my first video. I'm probably going to bring it up in multiple videos because, let's be honest, I hate them. Used to love them. They were great. Best jazz music ever. Best local music. Best indie Canadian scene music on their radio. They had great news. Very honest. Not so much anymore. They are our federally subsidized media source. So they do, I suspect, I mean, without any proof, I suspect they follow a certain mandate or a certain guideline given to them from whatever government is in power. I have heard from a few years ago when I wasn't listening that when Stephen Harper and the Conservatives came in, supposedly there was censorship. I don't know if that's true. Now that Trudeau is in and it's a very liberal or very left government, you can definitely feel that left influence, and it is pretty rank. So it goes beyond bias. It goes into a lot of fact omission, flat out lies, and a lot of assumptions and wording choices that are pretty rank and pretty gross and pretty obvious. But I digress. So CBC Radio is well known in my mind for producing divisive articles. If nothing else, whether it's an opinion article or a fact article, it doesn't matter. This particular one I'm going to bring up shortly is an opinion article, but many of the fact articles are very much, they're always just seeking for some kind of, you know, I guess diversity or progressive themed article, which is fine. I guess that's their right. But CBC is you can look up the word racist if you're looking up news in Canada or racism, and like half the articles that come up with any type of story will be just from the CBC, or the Toronto Star has another big one. They're kind of like the Washington Post, New York Times, if you're an American and you're watching this. So It's the best, I guess, I could give. CNN, I don't know. We aren't the same. We have very different media, but the same amount of bullshit exists in both countries, believe me. So this particular woman, she is a Canadian professor. I'm not going to bring up her name. If you want to do the research and look it up based on the title, please do. I'm not here to slam the person herself. I've already written her very pointed and well-worded, I think, email expressing my views on this, which was very respectful, as I always am, but very honest, as I'm trying to be more. More honest in the sense that I need to speak out. Can't lie to save my life. Like, it's pathetic. So this article that this woman wrote was called something like Jordan Peterson exemplifies the harm in our love for male genius. That's what it was. Our love for male genius. So it's a boorish article. It's really long in the sense of, it's probably not that long, but it felt like it just lasted forever. Maybe this sounds like it lasts forever. Hoping not. So this woman goes on and on about male genius, and I mean, she was all over the place. It went into all kinds of things about how Jordan Peterson and this type of genius is so dangerous to the culture of the university and to learning and to women, and women need to be recognized. And it was just, the ego shone through in the piece. It was very clear that she had her insecurities, or maybe felt she should be, or her friend should have been included. I don't know. There was a lot of rhetoric, a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling. And a lot of terminology that is only specific to things like gender studies, women's studies, etc. And mostly what I found, that aside from the fact that she said, of course, what every other reporter that doesn't like Jordan Peterson says, or anyone else on the alt-right, which basically is anything but left, I guess, she brings up, well, he's obviously got transphobes, or he's been known for his going up against trans rights, which of course isn't true. Misogynistic views, etc., etc. So she goes into all of that, but my beef wasn't even with that. That's the usual bullshit. I can look past that. It's so common and boorish, and it doesn't even matter anymore if someone calls you a racist. It's just so common. That's okay. What I wasn't a fan of was her overall opinion, I guess, that like this theory that she has, that the only reason that we really like people like him is because we have an obsession with the male mind, or the male genius. And I find that so infuriating. It's like, take this man who, like him or not, I don't care if you like Jordan Peterson. He did a lot for me in a time that was very hard in my life. I greatly respect Jordan Peterson. I'm definitely one of his biggest fans. I don't particularly care if someone doesn't like him. That's their right. But you can't say he's insidious to the university culture. You can't say he's insidious to Canadian culture. And you certainly don't get to claim some feminist bullshit string that doesn't even exist. Like, talk about connecting a dot where no such dots even exist in the whole general realm of this vortex of conversation. Does this have anything to do with anyone? And like, I swear, you got to read the article. It's so annoying. Like, I don't even know, if you're in the sphere of modern feminism, you probably would think it's great, because like uses all the catchphrases that you could ever think of, and certainly, gets the whole, like, he's got a penis, how dare he, and that's the only reason he's famous, because it's not because he's smart or has something to bloody well say. No, it's because he's a dick. Like, get real. I just, not to be crass, but I'm starting to feel like it's at the point where, like, if you have a penis, we have to now check whether, you got your job or you did something well because of your penis or not. And it's bullshit. Like, it's bullshit. So first of all, it's bullshit because it takes away the concept of a meritocracy, and I'm not a fan of that. Jordan Peterson, like him or hate him, has earned his dues. He's earned the merit that he has. He has something to say. Obviously, millions of people who aren't just a bunch of dumbass little sheepies actually like what he has to say. And perhaps we don't like it because we have a weird subconscious obsession with male ideology and male genius. Maybe it's not because we hate women, and your little friend that didn't become famous, it's because of her breasts and her vagina. Like, come on. Maybe it's because she didn't have as much to say as Jordan Peterson. Maybe she just didn't. Maybe she's not as good at her job. Maybe it's not because she's a woman. Maybe there's been lots of women that are geniuses. Maybe I'm just not enlightened enough to understand the historical and societal context of systemic sexism. Whatever. I don't even know. But like, I think why I'm so sick of feminists, I could just say, let it go. Who cares? Kelly, why are you so mad? I don't know. It's late at night. Am I tired? Probably a little bit. But that's not it. I'm mad because It makes us sound like a bunch of whiny crybabies. And women don't need to be like that. We can be emotional and sensitive and nurturing and incredible. But we don't have to be so whiny that no matter what happens, we have to blame everything on men. I don't like the word mansplaining. I don't like the way we're treating men right now. I don't like that men can't talk to people because they're scared of being accused of shit. I don't particularly like that men aren't allowed to have a say on women's issues. I don't like women wearing pussy hats on marching en masse in various locations, pretending that that's dignified in any way. What happened to class? Have you guys seen Chicago? The movie with Queen Latifah, that's her name, Queen Latifah, and there's the song, Ain't Nobody Got No Class. I feel like that was like the 20s. I mean, talk about now women acting like men to try to prove they're the same as men, and these women act like pigs, and not all feminists. I'm not going on about feminists now. I'm being reductive. I know there's great feminists. I know there's good people doing great things. Christina Hoff Sommers is fantastic. Is it Christine Paglio? I can't remember how to pronounce her last name, from Canada, maybe. Also very, very smart. Obviously, I'm not very good at the stats at the moment, but there's women that are doing good things for women, that believe in actual empowerment. Then there are the women that are reducing us to people that are just trying to make a lot of excuses. First of all, I don't buy the gender pay gap. I don't care what stats you throw at me. I don't believe it in my particular situation. I'm not saying it's never happened. I'm saying, generally speaking, I don't think this is a big thing. I think it's pretty easily explained from every statistic I've listened to and everything I've now been learning. Is there a wage gap? Maybe. Is there a reason for the wage gap? Probably. Does it have to do with children? Probably, right? And I mean, agreeableness and all these different things that Peterson gets into and whatnot. All very arguable, but either way, let's say there was. Let's say there's a pay gap. Oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. Fine. It's not fair. Well, nothing in life is fair, I have endometriosis. I got it when I was 13. I've been in pain since I was 13. I couldn't have sex without pain. I couldn't drink and party. I didn't get to have fun in my 20s and go on trips. I had to go on disability and live off $800 a month. Life's not freaking fair, right? It sucks. And so in that way, yeah, being a woman made my life harder because I had ovaries, and my ovaries just happened to be not very nice. So sorry if that's like too much information, but I mean, it's the truth. So I get mad. I get mad when women complain about whatever it is that they think they've been hurt by with men. I get mad when women bitch and moan about things that don't matter. I get mad when I read articles in a national newspaper that have no right to be there, that aren't even true. I get very, very mad being lumped in that women are like this because, God, men, I promise you, we are not all like this. And I really, really get mad when anybody assumes that if you don't buy into this, that you're some kind of misogynist woman hater, or that like I'm the whatever the equivalent of an Uncle Tom is, I guess, for women. What did Michelle Wolf? What's the name for white women that disappoint other white women? I guess I'm that, So, I don't know. I don't buy it. I live in Saskatchewan. I come from a farm. We have a long lineage in this province of women working hand in hand, side by side with the men in farms. Women are not less in farm communities. Maybe in the urban community, when you're only looking at things from gender studies analysis, it all seems really daunting. But if you go to anywhere else in the world that actually does just have a concept of men and women and their roles, and a concept of the fact that maybe they complement each other, it's not necessarily the end of the world. Like, it's okay. It's okay to have that, There's a lot of places in the world where women are treated like shit. So maybe we could focus on those places. Maybe if you're a feminist, you can get off Twitter and stop going on and on and on about the harm in our love for male genius, which doesn't even exist. Like, I've never even heard of that concept before. God, just so annoying. Forget that. Like, you spend all this time in this stupid article. Go help someone. Go help a woman that needs help. Go take a woman out that just got beat up and needs someone to hang out with and talk to. Go enlighten a woman. Go empower a woman. Go give free services to a woman. Go lend a woman your car. Go do something for someone. Don't just write these stupid articles pretending that Jordan Peterson is this enemy to women. It's so annoying. And articles aside, I read another article today against another feminist. I mean, they eat their own. Like, one feminist doesn't say enough of a feminist thing, or they're not progressive enough, and now they're eating, what's her name, Lacey Green. She's getting shit on because she said some things and she's not as progressive as they are. Well, God, if they call someone like her a transphobe, misogynist, whatever, like, what's the hope for the rest of us that have even remotely conservative views or centrist views? yeah, I think I'm about done. But I have to say, I believe that feminism is creating a wedge between the sexes that may or may not be repairable. I think if feminists get mad at this video, they should stop and find out why it makes them so mad. I'm always a big believer in self-awareness, meaning when you have an uncomfortable feeling, you take a moment and you stop and you analyze it. You don't just stop and say, hey, you made me uncomfortable. You're a dick. You triggered me. You stop and say, why? Why am I triggered? Why does that make me mad? You know, like I did with this video, I had to sit down today and wonder, why am I so mad about this article? Like, it's not Jordan Peterson. I mean, he can handle his own. I don't care. And it wasn't about that. It was about women and the way we're talking and the way we're acting. And it's not respectable. These third-rate feminists that are like so angry, it's not respectable. They act like classless pigs, and I don't approve and I don't endorse it. They do not speak for me. And they do not speak for many women. So I encourage feminists who have gone a little off the deep end to try to pedal it back a bit. If nothing else, if you're watching this video, try to understand why people are sort of rebuking feminism, why it's not so popular with the entire female population, why a lot of people are staying away from it. And it might be because there's a lot of articles like this one. I mean, the writer says in her article that, you know, Jordan Peterson doesn't like feminists. Well, yeah, he doesn't. And neither do I. And neither do lots of people because of articles like this. Because they're divisive. Because they're irrelevant, I think, is mostly the important part. It's like you take this point that doesn't matter. It's like having a massive long conversation about, you know, whether green apples are better than red apples, and you spend like 3 days on all this research and you think you're like changing the world, you know. You're not. You're writing an article with a bunch of words that nobody even cares about that sound ridiculous and redundant. So you're not changing the world. You're just making women look bad. Way to go. Please stop. Please stop. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. I swear, I'm not always this angry.